These dumplings are made of real shrimp meat. But instead of being farmed in water tanks or rivers, this shrimp is grown in the lab by Singapore-based startup Shiok Meats.
Globally, we are the only company working on cell-based shrimp and crab. Since we are making this from the actual cells to the DNA level, the nutrition as well as the taste is exactly the same as the original product.
Around the world, startups like Shiok Meats are racing to invent and improve alternatives to traditional meat production, which is often criticized for environmental and ethical reasons.
The advantages of using cellular agriculture to make seafood is that you don't need to set up large-scale farms or go into the oceans to catch these animals for human consumption, so environmentally friendly. There is very less greenhouse gas emissions or carbon emissions as well, and it's animal friendly because we don't slaughter the animals in large scale.
Plant-based meats are already here. Alternative proteins from homegrown insects are on the way. And now, with advances in technology, cell-based seafood could soon be coming to a table near you.
So ever since I've known, I was always intrigued by the human body. So I wanted to kind of know how the human body works, how does digestion happen, how does blood flow, how does the brain work, and all of that. And always imagined myself being in biology.
This passion brought Sandhya Sriram from her home country India to Singapore, where she got a PhD degree in biological science and co-founded 2 other tech companies before starting Shiok Meats in 2018.
I've been a vegetarian all my life for ethical, more environmental reasons. I just put my skill for biology and my love for food and my love for sort of saving this environment and doing my part in this world together, and said, why not grow seafood using stem cells?
Cultured meat is not new. In 2013, Dutch professor Mark Post created the world's first burger patty from cells. So far, more than 60 companies have joined this field, backed by increasing funding from investors. And the cell-based meat market is projected to reach $140 billion in the next decade. Cultured chicken developed by startup Eat Just was approved for commercial sale in Singapore last December, a first for a cultured meat product. But while many companies are working on cultured chicken, beef, and duck meat, Shiok focuses on seafood.
So shrimp, crab, and lobster alone makes about $150 billion worth of market share in the world. And Asia is the largest producer, consumer, and exporter of these proteins. And it's well liked by all of us, and we consume a lot of crustaceans. So the process of growing cell-based meat or seafood involves 3 main steps. The first step is where you isolate the stem cells from live animals. These are the source cells of any animal, sort of the birth cell that can grow into any organ. And these cells are then put into large-scale tanks called bioreactors, which are pretty much like a brewery, but instead of brewing beer, it's brewing meats and seafood. And we feed these cells with liquid nutrients that convert these cells into the actual tissue, muscle, fat, connective tissue, and real meat at the end of the day that has the same taste, nutrition, and eventually the same texture and look as well.
Compared with farmed seafood, these cultured versions are friendlier to animals and the planet. Shiok Meat says growing cultured seafood is also at least 6 times faster than farming them. But it's pricey. A kilogram of cultured shrimp costs nearly $1,000 US. The key reason? The liquid nutrient solution that helps the seafood to grow is an expensive pharmaceutical product used to make things like vaccines.
When we started off, the liquid nutrient mix that we used to feed our cells used to be pharmaceutical grade because that was the only thing available out there. But what we have managed to do in 2.5 years is to swap out some of the chemicals with plant extracts or edible products that makes the food more nutritious and delicious as well. And eventually our process will involve 100% plant-based and edible nutrients. And we are aiming to be at about $50 per kilogram by the end of this year.
The company also faces another hurdle: how to make this novel, lab-grown food appealing to customers.
We're looking forward to sort of breaking the myths that are out there and making people understand that this is the future and it's as safe for them as possible, and it's the same meat and seafood that they're used to eating.
Shiok Meats has raised over $20 million in funding and plans to launch their products within the next 2 years. Yet it might still take years, even decades, for cultured meat and seafood to go mainstream. But Sriram remains hopeful.
So our mission is to feed the 10 billion that we will be in the next couple of decades and the ever-growing population after that. As a consumer, you walk into a supermarket and you go to the frozen aisle of meat and seafood, and you see everything from cell-based meat and seafood to plant-based meat and seafood, and a small section of conventional meat and seafood. And that's sort of the vision for the entire industry and for Shiok Meats as well.